I'm Tim, welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak reference 15400 SR. You can see this two-tone rose gold and stainless steel Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 41mm and buy it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time to see our full listing for this watch, with high resolution images, accessories included, and naturally complete pricing details. Now, this watch bowed at SIHH 2015, building on the strengths of 2012's novelty, the 41mm Royal Oak. You can see the two-tone variant has the same broad stance across the wrist and tons of personality and daily wearability, but it is a true go-between that sort of sits a little bit above the traditional 39mm jumbo in terms of wrist presence and sporting persona, and a little bit more discreet than the full-blown 42 and 44mm Royal Oak Offshores. Now, the rose gold definitely improves the presence of the watch on the wrist. It has a dramatic contrast with the stainless steel, but the bare dimensions are exactly the same as the conventional 15400. So 41mm across the broad of the case, not including the crown, that's from 3 to 9. You can see how it sits on my 16cm wrist. It's quite low. Now, the watch is actually just under 10mm thick, and you can see with a generously sloped octagonal bezel, polished no less, it's easy to put the watch underneath a dress cuff, a tight sleeve. You should have absolutely no trouble wearing this watch in formal occasions, but it does have a sports watch presence, broad. From lug to lug, the watch measures 51.5mm, but if you include the rigid plots that join the bracelet to the case, it has these symmetrically on each side. Then the actual breadth of the watch across the wrist is 54mm. So while the watch is ultra thin, it's definitely not petite in any sense, but it spreads all of its weight well, so there's no hot spots, there's no pressure point on the wrist, and the watch does have impressive heft. The 15300s and the successors, the 41mm 15400s, weigh far, far more than any jumbo. The 39mm traditional Royal Oak has a relatively slight case. It's very thin. It's almost waifish, and the bracelets on the jumbos are built lightly. Not so here. This one feels like a full-blown sports watch in the hand. It has that kind of mass. Now, adding rose gold certainly helps its cause, but it's so solid. The links are thick. They're beautifully finished. You can see the metallurgy that you get when you buy a Royal Oak with a full bracelet. You can see that gleaming polished bevel across all of the link's shoulders. You can see the gorgeous satin finish down the center and the tapered bevel at the flank of the case on each side that diminishes as it approaches the bezel itself. Moreover, you can also see that underneath, ergonomics take pride of place because there's a broad channel between each link to avoid pinching skin and pulling hair, and it works very well. Now, the clasp is a handsome and very substantial double deployant. You can see when it closes, it maintains a low profile with a handsome partition point denoted by the AP logo, and because of twin trigger release, you do have to give it positive disengagement. It can't pop open. It's not friction fit. Very handsome, very effective. Now, the watch itself is defined, as is every Royal Oak, by that octagonal bezel. Originally inspired by the portholes of Royal Navy warships, you can see how it does draw on the tradition of the Gerald Genta original with inset white gold polished hexagonal bezel bolts. They contrast quite nicely with the satin finished rose gold on the top of the bezel, polished on the flanks, and again, just more hand finished metalwork. Now, the real trick, in my opinion, that this watch achieves is that it takes a standard silver tapisserie dial, and because of the polished inner bezel, you can see it's mirrored on all sides. In person, it actually casts a champagne tilt across the dial. So the watch has a unique inflection that's a result of the optics of the bezel reflecting across the silver textured surface. Now, the watch is fully loomed, so in the true sports watch tradition, you can view this one easily in low or no light. The texture of the tapisserie is exquisite, and since 2012, AP has built these in-house, albeit with the same 19th century style pantograph machines that have always been used to craft the Royal Oak dials. Now, there is a date window at 3 o'clock, and the watch does feature a quick set date such that when you pull the crown to the second position, I can demonstrate that, you can rapidly cycle the date should the watch run down or should you need to correct it during an uneven length month. You can also pull the crown to extremity, stopping the balance and hacking the movement for precise synchronization to a known accurate reference time, an atomic clock, or a quartz watch. Now, on the case back, We look at the reverse one more time. You see Audemars Piguet's in-house caliber 3120, 40 joules, bidirectional automatic winding with a 60-hour power reserve. It also features ceramic unlubricated rotor bearings, a full balance bridge for stability against shock, and to compound that effect, a Gyromax style free-sprung balance. Now, you can also see that it is a large balance with a high moment of inertia, and because of the stately 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, this watch does achieve that superb 60-hour power reserve, far more than the Jumbo. Now you can see that the watch is handsome, it has presence. It's perfect for someone who wants just a little bit more visual punch than a standard 39mm Royal Oak, but doesn't quite want to go offshore, so to speak. You can see this handsome reference 15400 SR two-tone Audemars Piguet Royal Oak and buy it on our website.